Mr. Bones.
What up, peeps? Mr. Bones back at you, and I am here with a few spooky season reviews for you. Let's go. 2025's Night of the Reaper, directed and written by Brandon Christensen, who also made Z and Superhost, which I am also a big fan of and reviewed in the past. College student Dina visits home and is roped into babysitting. The local sheriff is mailed a piece of evidence and is led on a scavenger hunt to reveal the killer of another babysitter. When this movie starts, you meet Emily, who is babysitting two children. As she puts them to bed, she goes downstairs, cracks open a Coca-Cola, lights up a cigarette, and starts dancing and rocking out to Pat Benatar. Then she suddenly hears a noise, and she thinks the parents are home, so she rushes to clean her mess and goes into the garage to see if they're home, which leaves the door open and lets someone in. Then she starts seeing these creepy little notes, "You're pretty," and "Be mine," and such. Long story short, basically, she meets her demise. Then the movie comes on 1 year later, and you meet Dina home from college, which happens to be the sister of the babysitter at the beginning. She runs into Chad and Willis. Chad is a goofball with a camcorder who likes to record people, and Willis looks like a jock who's interested in Dina, but she's not interested in him. Along the way, she stops by the pharmacy to pick up some meds for her father, and her and the pharmacist has a casual conversation in which she mentions that she is studying criminology in college. So she is a smart cookie, and you learn along the way that she has caught on to little clues here and there, and she's pretty sure who the killer is that's going around killing babysitters amongst a few other people, and she's piecing things together. He meets a Sheriff Rodney, who's a bit high-strung because he lost his wife in a car accident earlier on. Meanwhile, Dina is catching up with her best friend, Hattie, in which while they're chatting, she slips something in her coffee to make her have an upset stomach and not feel like babysitting because she's supposed to babysit the sheriff's son later on. She's just hatching a little plan along the way that we don't really know what she's doing until a certain period in the movie, and then everything starts unraveling. And it had a cool little twist. So she slips her friend something in her coffee so that she later will call her and ask her to take her place in babysitting the sheriff's son, Max. It's all a little plan she has. Meanwhile, she gets to know Max and bonds with him and gets him hopped up on Halloween candy and popcorn and soda to make him super sleepy. While the sheriff is getting all these random mysterious boxes with VHS tapes in them, and the first thing the sheriff thinks is, well, the only person with a camcorder is Chad, so we're just gonna pull him in and frame him and blame him and try to get him to confess, but he doesn't confess because it's not him. Or is it? He won't answer, he won't say nothing, so then he thinks maybe it's his friend Willis. So then they go and pull him in. While he's busy doing all that, Dina is unraveling her plan and taking care of business because she's pretty sure she knows who the killer is. You find out that earlier she had Willis come and take the kid away and take him back to Hattie, and she's setting up the house. And long story short, without spoiling or saying too much, it pretty much becomes a cat and mouse whodunit, Home Alone meets Scream. That's all I'm going to say. This is a really good movie, highly recommend it. Lots of Halloween and fall season aesthetics, set in the 80s, awesome soundtrack. Check it out. 2025's VHS Halloween. A collection of Halloween-themed videotapes unleashes a series of twisted, blood-soaked tales, turning trick-or-treat into a struggle for survival. Directed by Brian M. Ferguson, Casper Kelly, and R.H. Norman, and written by Brian M. Ferguson, Anna Zlozovic, and Alberto Marini, just to name a few. This is a horror anthology based around Halloween with 6 stories. It says 6 stories, but it's counting the wraparound, which it starts off with Diet Phantasma. It is a segment that it keeps going back to in between the segments, and also starts with about Diet Phantasma. It's a spooktacular drink. The taste is spooktacular. It's them testing a diet soda called Phantasma that is made from the plasma of ghosts. And they're testing it on people, trying to get it just right. so they could get it on the shelves by Halloween. Every time they test it on someone, it makes them go mad or makes their head blow up, or these little tentacles come out of the cans and tear their face off and shit. It's interesting. I could see that as a full feature film. It kind of reminded me of The Stuff and other films like that. Then the first story starts, which is called Coochie Coochie Coo, which is one of my favorite segments, the first and the last one, but we'll get to the last one. This one has been compared to, parts of it has been compared to Barbarian, because it has a witchy monster called the Mommy Witch, which reminds people of the mother from Barbarian. She's creepy, just like that character, and there's milk all over the floor. She traps people in her house and treats them as her baby. And these two girls that are going trick-or-treating for the last time before college get trapped in there, and it's like a haunted house. They're running around screaming, trying to survive, have jump scares, trying to figure out how to get the hell out of there. I guess you'll just have to watch to figure out if they get the hell out of there. And so you can meet the Mommy Witch, which is a cool character. The next one is Ut Supra Sic Infra, which means as above, so below, which is the retelling of a story of a mass murder that happened in this house, where these kids are dressed in Halloween outfits and partying, and the cops take the only survivor back to recount the events. And let's just say there's an entity that really loves eyeballs and likes to pluck eyeballs, and I didn't really get much from this story. The next one's called Fun Size, which was a fun one where, again, we have almost adults deciding to go trick-or-treating because they just left a party that didn't really suffice for them and they were bored, so they said, let's go trick-or-treating. They hit a few houses. They ran into this house that doesn't seem normal. It has a big bowl out front that says, please take one. But there's one guy who keeps playing with it, and it has out-of-the-ordinary titles on the candy, and one of them looks kind of phallic. And he decides to play with it and make some cook sounds, and it kind of oozes into his mouth. He says, I'm going to take another one. And this red hand comes up and grabs him and pulls him down into the bowl and transports him into this psychotic candy factory that then reminds me of like a horror version of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. There is one scene where a guy gets pulled through a conveyor belt through this machine, and you see little screens and see what's going on, and that's what reminded me of Willy Wonka, because there's a scene similar to that in that movie. The next one after that is Kid Print, which is my least favorite. It's this weird stuff that I have never heard of, where they shoot these like identity videos in case kids come up missing in this little Radio Shack type place called Kid Print, and then kids come up missing. And it's a serial killer kidnapping and torturing children, which I don't see a point of putting that in this movie that's for the most part fun until you watch this one. And this is real life stuff that actually happens a lot, so why do we need to watch it in our fun movie? Moving along. Home Haunt, my other favorite. My favorites are the first one, Coochie Coochie Coo, and Home Haunt. Home Haunt is about this guy and his son, and you see old video footage of where they've always had fun having this home haunt every year. Now the son's like 17 and he's being an ass about it and says he doesn't want to do it anymore and it's lame and shit. But his mother talks him into doing it with his father one last time. They go to the thrift store. The dad lifts this vinyl. He steals it for some reason. I don't know. I didn't hear the lady say it wasn't for sale. But it's a vinyl of Halloween-y spooky sounds and stuff. And he reads something off from the back of it and plays it. I guess the vinyl is evil, like a record form of the Necronomicon, and it brings all these witches and zombies and ghosts and monsters alive. And it's like a very gory R.L. Stine story with a witch ripping people's spines out and ghosts hovering over people's heads and obliterating them. It's really cool, lots of fun. And yeah, for me, my favorites were Coochie Coochie Coo, Fun Size, and Home Haunt. So that's the beginning, the end, and the middle. The other two stories weren't that strong to me, but those three were. So it altogether is a pretty solid entry into the VHS series. And I must be honest, I've never really been much into the VHS series. Couldn't get into them, but they knew how to pull me in and others by making it themed all around Halloween. Let's go. You got to check this one out. 2024's, but I just found it this year on Tubi. Dressing Up Halloween, the story of Ben Cooper Inc. Ben Cooper Inc.'s costume in a box Directed by Rob Capolazzi, stars Joel Cooper, Alvin Corey, and Jalen Dwyer. Ben Cooper Inc.'s costume in a box revolutionized Halloween in the late 1930s, allowing children to dress up as pop culture characters. This is a really cool documentary documenting the past history and the workings of the Ben Cooper Mask Company and how it came up and the struggles to get the rights to certain masks. Shows the machines in the factory poking in the eye holes and the nostrils and how much success they had when they got a hold of the rights to make Disney characters, Sesame Street characters, and the big one for them, from what I understood, was Star Wars. This one dude was talking about how he was able to buy a home once they made those characters and such. This is just really cool throwback nostalgia to see how it all worked and to see all the kids that they put in there dressed as the characters in these outfits. We all know this company and these outfits. We remember seeing them in stores, and I'm not sure if it's still running today, but now they make like little figurines of children in the outfits that I've seen people collecting. It was just a really fun watch. If you like documentaries, you want a little nostalgia of your childhood, I'd recommend checking it out. Thanks for watching. Peace.